Welcome to 247 Real Talk. I'm your host, Julian Perry, and it is an absolute pleasure to be here with you once again for another episode of the 247 Real Talk podcast. I'm once again recording on a Thursday. It's been a tiring week for my own reasons. First of all, let me find out how you're doing. Say welcome to all of you all over the country. I was looking at my stats and seeing that it's not just the United States of America, but I have listeners all over the world, and I'm so thankful and appreciative for you. I'm also seeing the continuous growth of the channel, not in huge numbers, but every week I get a few more listeners, and that's what's important, because when you look at all the thousands, probably millions of podcasts that are available for your listening pleasure now, for the few of you who choose my podcast, that says a lot to me, because that means that we're on the same path, and at least you find what I'm saying to be valuable. So I'm thankful for you, thankful to you, and humbled for all that you provide. I continue my recovery. It is a tiring one, walking from here to my car, or to the driveway, or to the garage. You know, something that you just take for granted and you fly out the door. Everything is effort now. I've got a knee that's recovering. Today marks, because I'm recording on Thursday, November 6th. And as many of you would recall, I had, let me stop music here, I had surgery on October 7th. So October 7th to November 6th, it's about a month, right? And so there's a long way to go, probably another 12 months before I can really move like I'd like to. But in the meantime, I'm thankful for the recovery. I hope you guys had a great week. I'm struggling along. It's not going to be a long podcast today, but hopefully you'll find value in what I have to say. So sit back, relax, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to talk about this week. As I thought about what could I say to you next to inspire you. As usual, I get a lot of my food for thought and my passion from my pastor, someone of myself who belongs to a church, who belongs to a spiritual body. And one of the things he sent me this week said, "The start of something new brings the hope of something great. Anything is possible." I'll say it again. The start of something new brings the hope of something great. Anything is possible. The author of that is listed as unknown. When I thought about it, I thought about how much we've been in a rut. We have become conditioned to the same old fight, the same old struggle, the same old results. And as I was thinking about my future, and I spend a lot of time these days thinking about my future past retirement, because I'm right at the door of either early retirement or in a couple of years full-blown retirement, according to my contract. And what do I do after that? I've got my YouTube channel, my other channels outside this podcast. I've got this podcast. I've got my garage workshop, where if you subscribe to 247 Tech Talk, you'll see all the different mods and stuff that I do on bikes, e-bikes, motorcycles, and those things. And then I'm saying, but what about real income, right? Because I make, not from this channel, but from my other YouTube channels, I make some income, but it's not incredible. And I'm saying to myself, is that fulfilling enough? My wife has her job. She has her own business, SilkenSoul.store. You must please. The website, I think, is going to be live on the 17th of this month, but go to Instagram, look for Silk and Soul, that store, and you'll see what the amazing things she does. I'm giving that plug because I just think she's worthy of it and worth it. But more so, what do I do to continue my life? See, people have challenges at different times of their lives. There are those of us like me who have told you about the challenge I've been going through in my job. There are some changes on the horizon in my job, and I pray every day that some of those changes, not at my immediate level, but overall, overarching changes will result for changes, positive change for me and others like me who have been enduring this inhumane environment, and will allow us to make the journey towards the end of our journey voluntarily and not be pushed out to early retirement and to lose income because someone else is so narcissistic and so filled with greed and power and so self-powered and so driven by earthly things, and have forgotten who they are and whose they are, forgotten that every breath they take belongs to someone else. It's given, it's a privilege, not a right. We deserve better. After 34, 35 years of service in this job, and this one job, not the job before, jobs before, I deserve better. There are many others like me who are in this horrible environment, struggling, trying to make decisions. One of my supervisors retired last Friday. She had no intention. She has family at home. She's got a sick spouse who needs constant care, and her full salary allows her to do that. She had to retire. She was of retirement age, but not intending to retire because she wasn't being forced to retire by her contract. She was forced to retire by the inhumane treatment by the same person that is subjecting me to such. But she said she spoke with her family, and they came up with a plan to survive and to live, and to look towards the future of what comes after. The start of something new brings the hope of something great. Anything is possible. And as I think about that, and I think about the changes in our world, a lot of it has to do with perspective. When things happen that cause shock and awe, we all see the bad of it. We never have enough left in us after struggling to make it through each and every day to seek out the silver lining. We also feel so caught in a rut, like we have nowhere to turn. I am convinced that it is my duty to look at my next phase of life after this job as not an end, but a new beginning, starting something new. And that has energized me. That has given me hope. That has given me an energy to say, okay, if you're going to start something new, what is that? What is that new thing I could do that can bring value to my life and the lives of others, that can help me sustain my life financially, mentally, emotionally, physically? There has to be something. We live in a society that forces us to work until we can't work anymore, and then we're done. We're so tired. We're not looking at starting something new. We're just looking to finish the race of life and try to survive it and do as least as we can until we're out of this life. But I believe that there's yet much more to go in my life, and much more to give, and much more to help others, and much more to change, and much more to lead by example, and much more to empower, and much more to comfort, and much more to support, and much more to remind those who want to listen of who we are and whose we are. And to do this, I have to keep focused on what can I start new that can get rid of the old. What can I start new that can remove the pain of the old? What can I start new that makes sure that things are not status quo and I give in to what's already past or what's oppressing me in the present? I want everyone who listens to me to take some time each and every day to think about what they could start new that will give you more power over your life to do the things that you want to do in your life for yourself, your family, and for others. It exists. in every single one of us. I give you an example. I build the things. When I say I build things, that's why my passion is my garage and my mods. There's not many things. There's nothing I really come across that you can't give me and say either build something similar or come up with a new idea that I can't. The amazing thing is people see the stuff I've built. This studio that you see in this backdrop, this wall, everything, I built it with these two hands. The incredible thing is I don't know how. When I say I don't know how, I know I did the work. But I don't know where the skills came from, the talent came from, the knowledge came from, but from God. People who have seen my work say, did you go to school for it? Did you learn, this kind of trade? In any kind of situation, I can do framing, sheetrock, studs, which is framing, metal and wood studs, plumbing, electrical, you name it. I have no clue how I learned it. I know that sounds strange, but it is the truth. Until I recognize that God gives each of us a gift. I'll tell you one further, so it'll inspire you. Many years ago, before I bought this house, I lived in an apartment in Queens, New York. And the apartment had a walk-in closet when you came through the door, a large walk-in closet. At the time, I lived there for a long time, so when I started living out there, I was by myself. I was single. And I would go out to the store and I'd walk to Home Depot and Lowe's and all these places and see these power tools. Circular saws and table saws and miter saws and air guns and compressors. And with no sense behind it, I was so infatuated by them that in my mind I made up this thing I could try to build in my small apartment, and I would buy these tools. And many of them kept piling up in that closet. I'm talking about thousands of dollars worth of tools in the box, opened, admired, with a plan to use in the future, never used it. And I can sit here today and tell you that I've probably used almost every single one of those tools in this house since I bought it. And I said to myself, with all the expense of buying a house and everything, I couldn't have bought those tools now. And bang! A light bulb went off. If you believe in who you are, whose you are, your journey is not a mystery. God already knew that the day would come when He would gift me with the opportunity to own this home, that He had already given me the skills to use the tools that I was buying. I had no clue that I would need them in this home. And this started probably 20 years before, or at least 15, probably 20, before I bought this home. That seems unrelated, unrealistic. But it's proven. Almost every single tool I bought that stayed in the box for almost 20 years was still applicable today, and it allowed me not to have to spend money on tools to do everything you see, including this studio I'm sitting in. It was stupid in every other realm of reality. You can't modify an apartment like that with those kind of tools. You're not going to bust open the walls or bust open the ceiling. What was the common sense 20 years ago of me buying them? I had these dreams that somehow I would put up this plastic tent and build this and cut that. And every time I saw a tool, like I said, sometimes the tool was too big to open up my apartment to use it. Not here. And it's fascinating when I think about that and realize that when you leave it to God, when you say to Him, your will be done, His plan might not come to fruition in your timeline or today or tomorrow. You might, if you're following that voice that's talking to you, that's leading you sometimes to do things just because you're following the voice and you don't see God's logic at the time. I would never have thought that this is where it would have led. And I'm forever grateful. So I'm telling all of you today who are living in a society where you feel oppressed, where you're not sure where to turn, where you don't know what your future looks like, you don't know where to start. You don't have to know all the answers. You don't have to have all the pieces of the puzzle. Just do as I'm telling you. The start of something new brings the hope of something great. Anything is possible. I have a friend of mine who's been on this show, Matanya Gladden, who's an activist. And I know he will resonate. He's one of my greatest supporters, and I know he will resonate with what I'm saying. Because he has been part of the evolution of the activism movement in this country. And he's seen the cycle of it, and he's seen the change. And he's shook the hands of and stood next to those who walk the same journey as he is, and that is for progress, for equality. Martin Luther King said, "I have a dream." It is not that statement, that purpose is not confined to him. We don't have to read it in books and look at it on the TV and say that belongs to him. He led by example. For all of you here who are feeling downtrodden, for all of you here who are feeling oppressed, for all of you who are at the end of your rope, and I know how you feel because I'm there, I've been there, and I'll be there again. But I have a dream, and it's time for you to have one too. We've got a world that's trying to oppress those of us who struggle to do the right thing. We can't stand up and let that happen to us. We can't sit down and let that happen to us. What we can do is kneel before the one who created us and rise and be ready to start something new. Why? Because the start of something new brings the hope of something great. Anything is possible. God of new seasons and new beginnings. Today our thoughts turn to beginnings, a fresh start, to fresh starts, to fresh hopes and dreams, to challenges and uncertainties. We ask you to take our fears and transform them into strengths. Take our moments of doubt and lack of faith and fill us with your empowerment. Walk with us into this day of new opportunities. Turn today into a day of promise, opening our eyes to your divine possibilities. As dawn breaks anew, fill this day with your grace and make us fully present to receive from you. Make it possible. The worst that could ever happen is that you gave it your best. This life is a gift. And the fact that we've been given the privilege to be a part of the journey, what we are mandated to do, should we want to call ourselves worthy of the privilege of life, is to give it our all, to do our best, and always see the hope of the future and the possibility of starting something new. Until the next time, please take care of yourselves and each other.